This is a CBS 3 Springfield Pinpoint Weather Alert.
We interrupt your coverage. Got to tell you about this. We have a tornado warning in effect right now. You know, very juicy air mass. And anytime we have these warnings, even if it does not mean a tornado is actually on the ground, we have got to bring this coverage to you now and keep you through it. So let's take a look at the live Doppler right now. And this is what we're talking about. This particular storm system is just entering the Hamden and Hampshire border right out by the Worthington area. And right now there's a big mess here of all sorts of lightning strikes. We've got more than 7,000 of them on the map. So just because the warning may not necessarily be for you up in Greenfield, we got to point out that this is still a very dangerous situation that we need to talk about right now. So let's go ahead and zoom right down in on this particular system right out here, and you can see right now, right out by the West Hampton, Williamsburg, Worthington, right in here, this is the particular place where they're noting rotation with this particular area of returns. Now let's go ahead and go back to the tower cam, and we're continuing to watch something here right on the tower cam itself, and you can see those underbellies we talk about here. They can lengthen, they can deepen, they can go down further, you know, and may end up touching the ground. We don't even want to talk about that, but yeah, you can see here we've got this funnel cloud, and this is the one that has been sparking rotation. This is the one we already had a confirmed touchdown with this already. It doesn't mean it's going to get there. But also, it doesn't mean this is something you want to be underneath right now. So you're looking up to the north there, West Springfield, and you got Riverdale, and a lot of folks, a lot of shops there. This is something that's a very dangerous situation. I know a lot of folks started their day off. They had their own plans, their own situations. Well, too bad. Sometimes nature just takes over with this particular situation. So we're watching these dark clouds, and we're just kind of hoping that it just passes us by and keeps all that intensity just straight up in the cloud. Just stay up that way and don't come down. And that's what we've been watching. And remember, you may feel silly doing it, but we're only talking about 10, 15 minutes, and it's all better.
Right. And there's no reason to be.
There you go.
Wow.
Take a look at that.
That's
We've got
incredible.
a debris cloud on the ground there. That indicates that there is a circulation going on within the cloud that is linking up with the ground right now. And that, folks, unfortunately, is what a tornado does. And that is what we're looking at going right across West Springfield currently on camera. And this is something that is really bad news. So the folks here out on Riverdale and out in West Springfield, you do not want to be watching this broadcast right now unless you are doing it from your basement. You don't want to call people on their landline phones either. You want to call cell phones. You want people in the basement with this particular storm. You do not want anybody outside. You don't want anybody in cars. You can see the flashing lights. You don't want to be on that bridge. You know better. And this is a situation we've been talking to you about for the last hour, and this is a situation we're going to continue to talk about until the threat passes. As you can see, this right here, this debris cloud, there could be dirt in there, there could be grass. It may not be something that's too bad, but look at the water being sucked up right now. You know this situation is serious, and it is something that means something, okay? You're going to be looking at this bridge. You don't want to be there. We are standing right now in Monarch Tower across the way from this tornado, and this is a real deal, folks. This is something that we talk about all the time and that you don't get to see. Well, you're seeing it right now, and this is why we tell people to be inside, because you don't want this to be you. And this is a big deal, and this is something we're going to continue to watch. There are cars on this bridge. This is a problem. We've been on the air for an hour now. You should know that this is something that is possible. You can see the debris hitting this camera as it goes down towards the south. Okay? This is a really bad situation. You really need to stay inside and aware. Now, fortunately, as you can see, the cars are still on the bridge, thank God. Okay? But this storm is possible that look at all the things that are being thrown up in the skies associated with it. This is something that is real. This is something that can really damage things. We could talk about shingles, we can talk about wood, we can talk about all sorts of things, but we could also talk about people. We do not want you to be out here in this, and this is going right through downtown Springfield as we speak. You may not hear lightning, you may not see a lot of heavy rain, but this is something that is really occurring. You saw it suck up a lot of the Connecticut River. It is passing by Monarch Place right now. Thank goodness it's not affecting our broadcast right from where we are, but we just managed to steer clear of this just barely. And this is something that is a really severe deal. And I'll tell you, the good news is with storms like this is the life cycle is often only about 7 minutes. Well, unfortunately, folks, this is a little stronger than that. This has been going on through Union Street in Westfield, and at times it was down and then it was up. Well, look what happened. We watched it form right in front of us here, and it continues to plow away and go further on toward the Wilbraham area as well, and we can certainly see all sorts of damage. I think everybody's going to call in with their own story on this particular situation. You've got the siren just coming up, at least in here, for our own building, letting us know that this is a bad situation. Fortunately for us, a lot of the real bad weather could be passed by, but this is a tornado. This is live. This is happening now. They're telling us right now in our own building what we need to do. Well, fortunately for us, it is just past our building, but that does not mean that the worst is over. I mean, take a look at this thing. It's not even, sometimes it can be stationary too. Okay? We tell you about this severe thunderstorm. Springfield's got 175,000 people living in it. This is a big deal. You watched it form right here on CBS 3 Springfield, and the bad weather just continues to get nasty. Even as it heads over to the Wilbraham area, you got a lot of colleges out that way. You may have people you know that aren't accustomed to watching the weather anytime bad weather happens. Well, you know what? They think the roof may have come off Bunker Hill School. This particular tornado, and any tornado, has the possibility of doing these very things, so we need to keep an idea on it. And we have some very strong returns out toward the Wilbraham area, out ahead of this particular storm, and that's where you can see your heavy hail. We've had reports of heavy hail. You saw the palm-sized hailstones. You don't want to be out there in this kind of mess, and as you can see, this thing can bust gas lines, it can knock roofs down, it can do all sorts of things that can happen with this particular storm. You notice the sky cam is kind of getting behind the satellite dishes and all of that, but this storm is still active, it is still on the ground, it is still a huge deal, and this is something you just don't see often, of going right through a big city. This is not Oklahoma City, this is Springfield. You think it's not supposed to happen here, but you know what? It is happening here. So all the folks toward 291 straight down through Wilbraham, this is not the time to say, oh, let me get to see it too. I want to go outside and look. No. You get inside, you get to your basement, and you wait. We'll show you about it later. You can see it here now, but you better not be watching this if you're in Wilbraham. Just don't even bother. Just go downstairs. We'll take care of it. You'll see it later. You can see it now, and this particular storm system is a big deal. Now, as far as assessing how strong it actually was, that comes later. We're not even worrying about that now. Right now, we're reporting things on the ground as it happens, and as you can see, it's a bona fide tornado, something that is, again, very rare to come through a major city. A lot of folks think, hey, we've got mountains, so we don't have to worry about it. Well, no, sir. We just saw it, the thing form from nowhere, and we just saw it suck up all the water. We've been monitoring this for the last hour or so, even more. This particular system starting off without even a severe thunderstorm warning. We brought you through it as it formed, got stronger, had rotation, then formed a tornado. We were here following all of it before the tornado warning was even issued. So we want to keep you safe, and we want to let you know that currently Wilbraham is the big target. This is all your hail. Okay, all of that right here in the purple, that's your hail. You've got brand new lightning strikes, but down here is your tornado. Notice how it is outside all of that nastiness up here. The radar returns, what we look for is this hook right in here, and that is a good signification of a tornado, okay? Really big deal. Let's go ahead right down to street level and show you where we're talking about. And as you can see, it is still moving to the east, and it is still something that we're going to be covering for you until the threat stops. Until it stops, we got to stay with it here, and it's for a reason, and you saw that reason. And we have a lot of bad weather here, and as you can see here right now, Palmer, Bondsville, Munson, Brimfield, and I got to tell you, got to go to this right now, okay? I want to show you the sky cam across Memorial Bridge. All these cars, I'm telling you, they didn't drive there, they didn't want to go there, tornado put them there, okay? Being here is better than being here, but it is a big mess and a big problem. And you can see how strong these tornadoes are. It takes nothing. It takes nothing in seconds to take these cars, spin them together, whether people are in them or not. And unfortunately, we're going to have plenty more of these stories to tell as we go on in the coming days, and everybody may have a story. But what we want are less stories involving real people outside. So that's why we want you inside, and we want you in the basement here. We're gonna go ahead and go right back to camera 10 because I want to show you, because this is going to stall traffic. A lot of folks that want to head out of Springfield going over the Memorial Bridge. Sorry, folks, it's not happening. We've got a big problem here, and as you can see,
I can hear you.
The bridge has been blown down. Justine Judge is on the bridge when it happened. Sometimes things happen so quickly you don't even have time to get out of the way. Justine, what did you see?
Well, I was walking from downtown Springfield by the Memorial Bridge, and I looked up in the sky, and it literally looked like a scene of The Wizard of Oz. There was black stuff flying off of the highway. Doors were slamming into the parking garage. I felt like I was going to be picked up, so I immediately ran into the parking garage, into my car. There's a giant truck flipped over on Memorial Bridge. It looks like a train just came flying through, taking everything out. There's trees down. There's water spurting up from a building that looks like it was torn up across into West Springfield. There's just a lot of damage. There's traffic backed up for miles, trees down everywhere. There's people out of their cars. Everything seems really confusing. No one knows what to do. I have to say I was really scared for a minute there, but I don't know the extent of all the damage. I'm continuing to drive down through West Springfield. It looks like it came down this way. Trees are down, cars pulled over. I'm driving by a car lot right now. It looks like cars are damaged. Pretty bad out here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in terms of what you can do in this situation, patience. That's number one, okay? Especially after the storm has gone by. For folks that have not experienced it yet, safety. That's number one. Don't even wait for anything. You get down in the basement. But what we are seeing on the Memorial Bridge could have been a lot worse, even though it is still very bad. You know someone was driving that truck. You know it because it's on that road, and a lot of folks have got lots of problems here. And again, Justine did the right thing. You see something like that, you run to safety, and you don't even wait, because she said it would happen in a minute. You only get a minute. Sometimes you get seconds, and that is it. And that's all we've seen here across the region. A lot of these folks, some folks might be grumbling about their commute. Well, too bad. You've got to be patient here. And Justine, you were that close to this particular storm. I want you to tell me what you heard with it.
It was actually eerily quiet. Actually, you can hear fire trucks going by right now. It was eerily quiet when I was walking out, and then all of a sudden, just wind, and it felt like I was going to be picked up. And it was strange because I didn't hear a lot until the doors started slamming, going into the parking garage, into the glass stairwell, and it looked like the glass was actually breaking. And there was boards flying from the sky, just smacking into cars. So just a lot of heavy, scary wind.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and sometimes you can get that eerie calm if the wind is only picking up water.
Jen, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. And Liz, when we talk about a lot of the destruction that's been going on, there have been just so many stories, just amazing stories of survival, of what people did when this storm hit.
Especially in the South End. I was out there yesterday, and the damage was unbelievable. The roads were impassable. Apartment buildings on that street were just completely falling apart. And actually, you were back there today to survey more of that damage.
Went back to the South End, and in some areas, there's really no other way to describe it than just total devastation. When you look at some of the windows that have been blown out, the rubble that's on the ground, and I caught up with a few residents in an apartment building off Union Street, just a couple blocks from here, that got hit pretty hard, and they told me what they did when this storm hit and how they survived.
The antiques right at the wall.
For Bob Reipel, this is home.
I got out in the nick of time.
When the tornado struck, he went running for his life. Fighting through his limited ability to walk, he knew he needed to get out.
Glass work, vibrating, pulsating like a bass drum. That was the time to move.
The storm hit his Union Street apartment building hard in the South End. His neighbor can only look at the damage. His walls caved in.
It just felt like a huge vacuum of all air just being pushed in.
But just a few doors down, this violent storm spared some. Looking off this balcony here on Union Street, you can see the damage for blocks. You see the windows that are blown out on the ground. There's debris, roofs that are destroyed. But it shows how specific the track of this tornado was, because if you walk into the apartment here on Union Street, it's as if nothing ever happened.
I don't understand the rhyme nor reason of why. I'm truly blessed that there's no damage to my apartment when on both sides of me there is damage.
The storm didn't spare much of this apartment building or much of the South End. Business windows blown in. Fire alarms can still be heard a day later. For residents of the South End, this reality seems to be something only seen in movies.
And I was joking around talking about Toto and Ruby Red Slippers, but never expecting to come into this.
Driving in here was like driving through a movie set of a Terminator movie.
Now, recovery efforts continued in Westfield today, where the tornado ripped through their Shaker Heights neighborhood.
Yeah, and actually this morning, city and state officials met at the Little River Fire Department to talk about cleanup plans and relief for residents whose homes have been destroyed. Westfield Mayor Dan Knappich says over the next several days, contractors and city crews will be out helping to clean up, adding that he is so proud of residents who are stepping up to help.
Really, it's neighbor to neighbor help. Come and check on your next door neighbor, and that was heartening. So I believe that in a few days, though will be cleaned up and power will be back on, the lasting scarring memory of this will be with us for a long time.
Anyone in Westfield in need of assistance should contact the Little River Fire Department.
And we're heading to Hampton County, where roads are still impassable after a tornado hit parts of Brimfield. The powerful twisters crumbled buildings, ripped off roofs, and toppled trees, and one person was killed by that twister in Brimfield. Routes 19 and 20 are still closed for search and cleanup operations, and police also say many secondary roads in the area have also been shut down.
Agawam residents continued to clean up the damage caused by yesterday's tornado. Toppled trees and scattered debris seen all over town. But one home on Fairview Drive had a tree go right through their roof into their living room. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Like many communities, crews continue to clean up down power lines and scattered branches all over town.
And the town of Munson is also picking up the pieces this afternoon. The center of town is a complete mess. The tornado ravaged the heart of the town, ripping apart homes and throwing cars everywhere. And some landmarks were also damaged. The Old First Church is in pieces. Its steeple now toppled at the front of that church. The Adams grocery store is also collapsed in the tornado, as well as about a dozen homes. Unfortunately, so far, though, it does not appear that anyone was killed there.
Well, our newsroom has been flooded with pictures and videos from you, from the viewers, and we head to break right now with video from a cell phone of a man who captured it all right on his cell phone. We'll be back.
Look at this! Look at this!
Everybody get down!
Oh my God! Look at this! Look at our
Everybody get down! Everybody get down!
Now, today's top stories of tomorrow's full forecast in the first 5 minutes.
A day after a tornado carved its path of destruction through Springfield and surrounding towns, residents begin to pick up the pieces. CBS 3 Springfield's Matthew Campbell is live from Six Corners, where residents are finding it hard to do. Matt.
Jennifer, you know, it is hard. You know, you wake up one day with your life right in front of you, and then just hours later, it's all gone. We're here on Beach Street tonight, and this used to be a house. I want you to take a look at this rubble here. That used to be the door, that used to be the roof, and looking all up and down this street, it's just more of the same. Now, these houses are still standing, but none of them are livable. Kevin Dumpson is boarding up and packing up. Unlike his neighbors, his house isn't flattened, but like most of them, his home is unlivable.
That window blew out. Well, I have those windows boarded up now, but they blew out. The glass blew through this way. I don't know, it must have been a whirlwind in here because everything's blown so many different ways.
In a matter of seconds, Kevin's life also was blown to bits.
What few belongings I do have on earth, they're valuable to me.
In surveying the damage, there's not much left. But there is this.
I fly my colors.
Flying proudly amongst the tornado-torn street is this American flag. But this flag, too, has seen destruction more than once.
I found my flag buried under the rubble. I don't know how it was blown outside of the house. And but that's the same flag. So it represented at 9/11, and it represented today out here.
Serving in the Army, Kevin saw Ground Zero up close. And now he's living through Ground Zero in Springfield.
It's not a 9/11, but it's a 9/11 to us, I'd say.
Forced to start all over again, Kevin looks to the flag. It stands as a symbol of strength and reassurance, even when those here may be at their weakest.
What we stand for and how I believe we're resilient people and that we'll be okay one way or another, sooner or later.
And here is that flag still standing tall. Again, we are here on Beach Street, and a lot of these homes are going to be knocked down in the coming days as the city continues to rebuild. Live here from Six Corners, Matthew Campbell, CBS 3 Springfield.